Hi everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Startup Playbook TV. I'm your host Rohit Bhargava, and today I'm going to be chatting with Lyn Vu, who's the co-founder of PurpleBroccoli. Today we're going to be talking about how to decide between different promotion strategies, do discounts always work, and what you need to focus on to be successful. Hi Lyn, welcome to Startup Playbook TV. For those people watching at home, do you want to share a little bit about yourself and what you're working on at the moment?
Sure. Hi Rohit, thanks for having me. My name is Lyn and my startup company is called PurpleBroccoli. So we are challenging the hospitality industry by utilizing technology to maximize efficiency and therefore able to bring high quality food to people's table at a reasonable price. So our mission is to make healthy, delicious food available and convenient for the people who are too busy to eat well.
Sure.
So our first product offering is lunch delivery, and we bring healthy, yummy lunchboxes to people's offices, and that make it extremely convenient for the professionals.
Sure, fantastic. And so what sort of stage is the business at the moment?
The business is still very young. We're currently serving a set of customers, but at the same time, they're putting a lot of effort in spreading the words and bringing people in because we want to understand what people's preferences are. Especially making healthy food doesn't have to be boring, and that is very important. We want to make good products that people keep using and knowing that it's good for their body. So and that leads to my first question for you, because as a young company with a big mission, as you can imagine, there's always more things to do than the hours in the day allow. And one of my biggest challenges at the moment is to work out which promotion channels I should focus on.
Sure.
And some of my options are I can either build a really awesome social media profile and then grow organically from it. Or I can do paid online advertising. And even it in itself, I can either promote content or promote discount through paid advertising.
Sure.
I could also give out discount voucher at offline location where I know my customers reside or locate. And another very interesting option that I'm exploring at the moment is creating partnership with corporate offices, because more and more corporate offices these days realize that it's important to take care of the health and well-being of their employees, and this is where our business values align.
Sure.
So
sure. I mean, like you touched on a couple of things. There's no shortage of ways of reaching customers. The question I think is more, especially when you're early stage, when you have limited resources, is how do you get the biggest effectiveness for the amount of time so you're essentially your ROI in terms of what it is that you're doing. So I said, I guess looking specifically at the lunchbox delivery tool, I guess one of the things that I would look at is who has the biggest need for lunchboxes delivered to them. So that would be people who are generally time poor, generally working in the corporate environment. So they would be people in the CBD in office buildings. Would be sort of the first area that I would focus on. My next part of that would be what's an easy way for me to start working with particular offices and work out deals. So you mentioned partnerships with different organizations, which I think would be a really good starting point for you, because what that allows you to do is you've got one delivery location, so it minimizes you having to go out to different locations. If you've got ongoing service or partnership with them, that means that you have repeat orders that are coming in, and that you can essentially test with one office. So to I guess playing that out a little bit further, how do you then get into develop a partnership with a particular office space? So I would look at start with your network. So who do you know anyone that would be able to potentially be an in for you at like a Deloitte or a PwC or one of those big companies, or even a smaller company that owns Level, or a startup that has a number of staff? Would a co-working space be an interesting option for you? look at things that you already have a relationship with that you can start making that sell a lot easier. So instead of you having to be in cold, people know you, people trust you, people who you can kind of reach out to, mention what you're doing, and they can either give you an in or be the decision makers themselves. Assuming that you don't have any networks or contacts, I would look at, so if you were looking at a PwC, for example, I would look at who would be responsible for organizing something like this. I'd say it would potentially be people within HR. You could say that this is, you could make it a mission within the company to provide healthier food options, make it easier for people to get, lunch delivered to them. You could, create an incentive within the company where you're developing this culture where people eat together. There's different ways that you can kind of sell that. The question is, how do you get that in? So I would look at who the decision makers are, who's the people within that organization that can essentially green tick or get you into that particular business. And from there, it would be a matter of reaching out to people, seeing if you can get a referral. So warm introductions when it comes to B2B or relationship developments always works a lot better. Worst case, again, assuming that you don't have any of those and you don't have any referral things, look at connect with people on LinkedIn is the easiest way. Most people are willing to accept random connections. Send them a personal message when you're inviting them. So you can say, "Hi, I'm Lyn. This is my business. We're currently talking to a number of companies about how can we improve company culture and get people to eat healthier and think about healthier habits." So you want to again pitch it more so than you being in that company, but what does the company and the staff get out of that? Can I have a meeting with you to discuss some of the options or ways that we can potentially do that? So. To start off with, again, you can do content marketing, you can do social ads, you can do a bunch of different things. My question would be, how can you reach people, essentially make things a little bit easier for yourself? So how can you make one sale, but as a result make 100 or 200 sales, especially if you can develop that partnership, as you mentioned, where that's an ongoing thing for you, so that you can essentially scale that model out once you've got it.
Yes.
So
it's very reassuring to hear that, because the most common advice you hear these days is utilize social media, but you can't just go on social media because you have to provide good content and you really have to work hard on it. So as you mentioned, with limited resource, it definitely sounds to me like focusing on developing the partnership seems to be a better option for that business.
Absolutely. So every growth tactic works, right? Mm-hmm. Social media marketing, Facebook ads, everything works. The question is, is it right for you at the current stage that you're at? So I do content marketing and Facebook ads and stuff like that. And for a lot of startups, most of the time, especially when they're early, we push back on them and say, develop those relationships, get a few wins under your belt first. You can always use that to scale things. Again, once you know what's working, once you know, we're doing this for PwC, we're doing this for different companies, we know what the process is, you can be a lot more effective in terms of your sales funnel as part of that. But always start off with, developing those few wins first. Again, being very hands-on with your first few customers, understanding what's working, what isn't working. Because, when it comes to food, there are a lot of different things that are there. Some people, people might cut it off because they don't like the food, or because, there might be particular days that work better, or it might just not be the right company for you, or, there's a lot of learnings that can be kind of done from going through that process. But a lot of it should be, doing the unscalable things. I think I've mentioned that in every single episode so far, but really kind of talking to people and understanding your customers, and then working out what it is that they like about your product before you move into other channels. You can always do that, but with limited resources, it's about how can you make the biggest kind of impact and get the biggest learnings up front, rather than spending a bunch of money on ads.
Yeah, totally, I'm with you. Although it's a very, very manual process, but that's the best channel where I can speak to the customer one-on-one.
Yeah.
And understand, and like you said, do the most learning in the early stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole leaky bucket theory, right? Every startup wants to be really big on social the moment that they launch, and instead of thinking about 10 customers, they want 2,000 people signing up on the first day. A lot of it is about learnings, right? So you might get 2,000 people that subscribe or sign up, but a bunch of them might drop off. And because there are so many questions up in the air, you don't know whether the product isn't good enough, you don't know whether it's the right company, you don't know whether it was delivered on the wrong day, or they just didn't like that particular food, or there are so many intangibles that it's hard to know why something is or isn't working. So I think, again, just kind of coming back to doing the manual things first, no one likes doing them, but it plays a big role in you having a very good understanding of your customers and your product, and the value proposition that you're creating as part of that.
Yeah, great. So my next question is about discount and giving out discount. So basically the challenge is being a young company, a startup with limited resources, I aim to give out discounts so that I can get the right customer, convert the right customer. And to give you an opposite example is, for example, HelloFresh is a company that's backed by millions of dollars by investors, and they can afford to have people standing at the corner and giving out a $30 voucher to thousands of people. And even if more than 50% of those people never convert to customer, it's okay for them. That's how they spread the words. So we can't afford to do that. And what we really want to do is, how do we properly give out discount, but only to the to target customers. And we do healthy food, so there will be people who forever happy to go to McDonald's and pay $6 to $8 for a burger. And there's, on the other hand, the people who happy to pay $20-$30 for the healthy food because they know it's good for their body. So we somewhere in between. And even if we give the voucher to the people who go to McDonald's at the $8 to $10 for a healthy meal, those people will never convert to become our customers, our long-term customer. So do you have any thoughts on what's best? That's the best way to give out discounts so that I can target the right people.
Sure. So I think you raised a really good point that I don't think a lot of startup founders think about is everyone thinks about the acquisition of how do I get my next user, and discounts are a way of doing that. What happens more often than not is that, especially if you're offering something for free, a lot of people will sign up with no real intention of converting into actual users. So the question is, like, you providing that service for free, did that give you the right acquisition channel for that? So discounts is just one tactic of acquiring customers. I think when it comes to providing discounts, there needs to be some sort of value-adding kind of proposition that you can do, especially, as you said, when you have limited resources where it doesn't make sense for you to just hand out a free discount. So one of the things that you can do is work out, we'll give you the first month free if you commit for 3 months. So they still have to commit for paying for 2 months, so you cover your costs of the first month that they're providing for free, which at least validates that they're willing to pay some amount of money or the base level cost to be involved, rather than just having a free meal. So there are different things around that. I would say it's more based on, what is it that is your product good enough for customers to, if they're signing up for free or if they're offering a discount, is it compelling enough for them to want to convert into paying full price? There's a discussion that I saw on the Sydney Startups Facebook page where someone was saying, I signed up for $0. I was on a 30-day free trial. I had the intention of signing up, but they offered me a discounted price to convert into a paid user, but they wouldn't let me continue on the free trial period, and that really kind of annoyed me. I would say the right customer for you is I guess it's more about what is it that you're trying to achieve. Customer acquisition is just one part of the aspect. As you mentioned, it's more about the longer term. What's the lifetime value of that person that's coming on? So you might get 100 people that sign up that cost you X amount of dollars, but if only one of those 100 come on and become actual users where you make money off them, is that an effective strategy for you? So I would look at more kind of longer term. What are the unit economics of your business? Right? So at what point, how long do they need to pay? How much do they need to pay? How long do people stick around? What's the lifetime value of the average user that's coming through? What's the lifetime value of someone coming through from a 10% discount versus a 20% discount versus a 30% discount? What are the different customer segments as part of that? Every business is different. Some businesses can afford to, if you're a SaaS company, more often than not, giving out a 30-day free trial is the expectation because that's what everyone else is doing. But again, free users to me don't really count as users until they make their first transaction. So my question is, again, it comes back to what are some of the other, have you explored other tactics where your product is compelling enough for people to be willing to sign up straight away?
I think food is a very interesting industry because it's easy and very hard at the same time.
Yeah.
It is easy because every single human on earth need to eat, and we likely to want to try new things, and that's why when you see a new restaurants open, usually they have a queue of people waiting, and then the best way to see whether that restaurant is really good or not is to come back in a month's time and see if anyone is still queuing up.
Yeah.
Right. But it's also very hard because of the plentiful of choices that we have around us. So there's the competition is fierce, and that's why if you talk to any investor, if you talk about food startup, they say like, they take a step back because the competition is so fierce.
Yeah.
So the reason why discount is like it seems essential in this case because it seem to be the only incentive to get people to try new things.
Sure. Yeah. So again, I think going back to that first tactic of developing a partnership with different organizations, I don't know if you want to offer a discount as an incentive for people to do that as an overall strategy. The customers won't know specifically what that discount is. You might work out a deal with that particular company to say for a year we'll give you, instead of giving you $10 lunches, we'll give you $8 or whatever. That can be something that can be worked in. I think the more, sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Different tactics.
Yeah, so I think what will be more effective for you, instead of offering discounts to acquire more customers, is for the customers that you do have that sign up from different companies, is give them referral codes where they can earn money from bringing other people on, and the other people might get a small discount as well. So they're still having to pay. They're still, chances are and this is where, a lot of when we talk about growth can be done in two ways, right? Either you acquire more customers, or the people that you have, you empower them to find more customers for you, or you find them to, you get them to spend more money and increase their value to you. I think one of the things that, especially a food-based business, if your food is great and people enjoy it, they will be more than happy to share that with their friends, because it's very hard to find good lunch experiences. I would kind of look at ways that you can incentivize people to, if they're already enjoying the product, to then get their friends and family on so that they can earn discounts and incentives. This is how Uber kind of grew really quickly, is, people actively wanted to promote because they really enjoyed the experience. They wanted free rides, so they had to earn free rides by getting, a certain amount of people to sign up. So instead of, again, discounts might work for you, I'm not sure, but it's a case of, does the maths make sense, and do the people that you're giving the discounts to, is the product good enough, and is your approach targeted enough that you'll get the people on that will start paying full price. Yeah.
Oh, great, something to think about.
Yeah.
Great. One last question is just something general about being an early stage startup. Do you have any advice for me on some of the critical things that I must do in the next 3 months to maximize my chance of success?
Find customers who are willing to pay for your product. Look, there are a lot of different components of any business, right? You have co-founders, you have investors, you have partnerships that fall apart, you have a lot of different things that go on. I think any business, regardless of what's happening, regardless of their background, is successful based on are their customers, are the customers increasing? Do people stick around? Do people continue paying for your product? Depending on what the model is, do people interact, engage, and is that number growing? Again, I think for most businesses, like for you, for example, for your business, tech isn't a huge component specifically, right? Like you might have a platform and a website that people order off, but the dynamic is more, will people order your food, enjoy it, and then continue ordering your food on an ongoing basis? I would say that the biggest thing that you should focus on over the next 3 months is literally look at how many customers you have now and look at 3 months from now, what would you like that to be? the first goal that I generally work off is, assuming that I have myself and 2 other co-founders in a business or 2 other staff that I'm paying, is like try and hit to 10K. So what do I need as a 10K monthly recurring revenue, or 10K worth of transactions coming in? How do we generate 10K, and what are the specific transactions that we need? How many people do we need to reach? What does that funnel look like? So if we're then doing partnerships and we're talking to 20, it might take 20 different companies for you to land one, but that one company will move you to 10K. So that you've got to reach out to 20 people to get that one customer to say yes. And then you can, again, sort of extrapolate out from that. But again, there's a multitude of things that you can focus on. Platform, building out your product, all of those things. All of those things are great. You need a good product as a baseline, but assuming all of those things are there, focusing on customers is the key for any business.
Great. Well, lovely. Thank you so much.
No, thanks so much for coming in. So for anyone that wants to solve their lunchtime food issues, or get in touch with you and say hello, what's the best way for them to do that?
Eat better, eat healthier, and it's convenient. Go to purplebroccoli.com.au and sign up, and we'll be delivering food to you very soon.
Perfect. Again, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you want to be featured on a future episode or just want to say hello, my email is rohit@startupplaybook.co. Lyn, thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you.
Good luck.